Hi there, this is Steve Spurrier. You can join University of Florida Hall of Famer Shane Matthews and also the two-time SEC Player of the Year every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about the Florida Gators, including news, analysis, opinions, and some of the biggest names in sports. You can find him on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Or you can watch him live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter.
You're looking live. It's a live edition of PodUp with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. We made it to Friday, folks. Hope you have a great weekend. It's time to tee it up.
Oh,
beat the hell out of some people this weekend. We'll be joined with JC on the Titan MR hotline here shortly. Then we'll have Kerwin Bell, head coach of Western Carolina, get his thoughts on his team and a couple other things I want to ask him. Daniel says on Facebook Live, as a tribute, Shane should explain the Tampa 2 and tell us the best way to beat it. Our thoughts go out to the Kiffin family. Monty Kiffin passed away yesterday. And obviously everybody knows what a great football coach he was. I had about a month with Monty Kiffin when the Buccaneers signed me, and then they drafted Chris Sims and they cut me. But thought a lot of him. Obviously, he constructed that Tampa 2 defense. It's basically to keep the ball in front of you. You got to have four really good down linemen, and your outside backers have got to fly. Derek Brooks could fly around and cover a lot of ground. It's a very conservative type defense, just to make teams methodically drive the ball. Because I've said it multiple times. Eventually, if you have to go 10, 12 plays, bad things will happen. And so that's kind of a quick synopsis of the Tampa 2. Let's go to the Titan MR hotline, and we are joined by JC. Good morning, JC. How are you?
yeah. Good morning. Yeah. So that's what you want to see the Florida defense do, is keep everybody in front of them, right?
Yeah. Conyer Ron says, what would be the typical score in a round of golf
yeah.
if Kerwin, Shane, and JC all teed it up?
Yeah. Well,
Kerwin will shoot a million. A million.
Oh, poor Kerwin. Well, he's a football coach who's busy.
Yeah, but he might be the worst former quarterback golfer I've ever
seen. Not too many clubs at Mayo for him to grow up on, I guess, in Lafayette County.
Well, you act like I grew up on some good golf courses.
Well, no, you didn't really start playing golf till you came here, did you?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
well, he was a fine quarterback, and I'm sure you're going to ask him about honoring those mid-'80s teams when the university has that opportunity, because I know you've mentioned that during the week, and I hope that happens. In fact, it has to happen if they care about the history of Florida football, because those mid-'80s teams that he was a part of were some of the best Florida's ever fielded, and that is just a fact. So, I mean, I think that a lot of feelings can be healed if those teams are honored, QB, and recognized, because they were a part of Florida football. I'm sorry if it was during a Charlie Pell era or what era it was in, right?
Yeah.
So I think Kerwin Bell, he was an unknown when he started at Florida, and then when his career was done, we loved him. He put it on Georgia. He put it on Auburn. That's when Florida played Auburn and Georgia back-to-back weeks for years and years and years. And those were two of the biggest games of the year for somebody like me, who was, off at college, but who grew up watching the Gators in the 70s and early 80s. Those were the games, Auburn and Georgia, back to back every year. And the Gators didn't do well. And then Kerwin Bell and Ricky Nattiel and so forth showed up, and they did very well. So anyway, those 80s teams should be recognized. There's no question about it. But Monty Kiffin, great coach, 84 years old. I mean, that's a good life. That's a healthy, long life. He'll be missed for sure.
Conyer Ron's into the golf. He wants to know the best golfer who was a former Gator football player.
Oh, wow. Now that's well, I mean, QB, I guess, Coach Spurrier was pretty damn good in his day. And
he was a good player.
He was very competitive, carried a low handicap. I mean, I don't know many of the others. You're very good. I think, I would think it's mostly some of the quarterbacks, maybe.
Yeah, Jeff Chandler was a good player.
Judd Davis could play.
Judd's a good player.
Yeah, Judd Davis
But
for sure.
Some players are better in like scramble environments, and some people are better playing their own ball and competing.
Yeah, that's right. Jeff Cardozo, Big Red, who's a great former baseball
player. He's a good scramble guy.
He's a scramble guy.
Yeah.
Big Red loves to
He's a scramble guy.
He tees it up about this high, Big Red, and he just rears back and hits it 350 yards. But then God only knows what happens after that.
Right.
I bought the Phil Steele, just so you know. They did not have the only SEC player on this picture is Carson Beck, which kind of pisses me off because there are other covers, like here are the other covers, and they have more SEC players, but for some reason Books A Billion only had this one. I'm looking currently at the Auburn Tigers schedule to see who's going to embarrass them this year from a school that nobody's really paid attention to. Last year it was New Mexico State, of course, who just absolutely embarrassed them in Auburn. And I'm probably thinking this year it might be somebody like, it could be New Mexico that embarrasses them. It could be Cal. It could be ULM, anybody like that. I think Auburn's a 5-7 kind of school.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah. Mark says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Spurrier was a big time golfer. Coach was not a great player. He just found ways to score. He wasn't a good ball striker or any of that, but he probably influenced Shane to play the game. I like golf. I just didn't have time to play golf in high school because I played 3 sports. And then once I came to college, I had nothing else to do when it wasn't football season, So I kind of learned my way around Boston back in the day.
Yeah, you guys also played the Gainesville Country Club quite a bit, and
not when I was in college. I did after college. I became a member there. So, okay. Zach says Channing Crowder was on a podcast yesterday calling for Lagway game 1. I don't think Napier will turn him loose that early in the season. I think he will be a special. However, he might be, but I will disagree 1,000% with Channing Crowder. Graham Mertz is a solid, top-notch quarterback.
Channing Crowder.
Yeah. JC, first of all, I got a couple things I want to talk about today. We're going to get to golf because I got to tell a couple of stories from the Renaissance Club, or Renaissance, the way they pronounce it over there. Renaissance is how they pronounce it in Scotland. Did you know Russia is only sending 16 athletes to the Paris Olympics, where they sent 335 to Tokyo?
Yeah.
And they will not be allowed to compete under the Russian flag, but instead they're going to be, I don't know what this flag is going to look like, but it's going to say individual neutral athletes.
It's all about that war going on.
Yeah.
And that's where that's coming from. Some of the tennis players who are on the WTA circuit, both from Ukraine and Russia and countries like Belarus and Kazakhstan, it's a tough situation for these athletes. I mean, they're asked about this topic and they just cannot comment due to family issues and so forth. 16 athletes to the Olympics, it's embarrassing, but they've got a maniac running the country right now.
Joseph and I obviously have different philosophies on quarterbacks. He says 24-20 as a starter isn't great. A lot of it has to do with people around you. I understand you can say whatever you want to say about last year, but if you do not think Graham Mertz is a good quarterback, please don't listen to my show anymore, because y'all do not understand quarterback play if you don't. That's that simple. If you're a banker and you want to talk about banking, that's fine. You know more about banking, but nobody that listens to this program knows about quarterback play than I do. And I'm just telling you, he is damn good. And DJ may be great, but I'm just telling you, we've had a lot of guys like him that don't pan out either. Okay. So I'm hoping it does. Mark wants to know if I ever played Black Diamond. Yes.
You get very animated when it comes to Graham Mertz and the fans.
I mean, because people want to see DJ. I get it. But I'm telling y'all, you're going to go out there. He's going to drop back. He's going to run around. He may take off for 10 yards. Y'all will get excited. But that is not playing quarterback.
This sounds like the guy. This sounds like the guy that got drafted by the Colts. Is what it sounds like.
Well, look, I love Anthony, but Anthony doesn't have a winning record at any level.
Right. Well,
right. I mean, that's a fact.
I mean, East Side, really.
No high school, not college, and not in the pros yet. I hope he turns out. I hope he can stay healthy. But I'm just going on the body of work Okay. All right. So JC, Paul Skeens, why the hell they take him out of the game yesterday?
It doesn't make any sense. This guy's a young guy. So he threw 90 pitches. Who the hell cares? I think what we're seeing, and I really believe this, is that baseball pitchers on these ridiculous pitch counts and managers are actually harming pitchers by reducing the amount of pitches that they throw, as opposed to letting them throw 120 to 140 pitches every 5 days. Because to me, you're seeing more injuries. QB, how many pitchers are always banged up or hurt or something's wrong with them these days compared to when Nolan Ryan was pitching, 150 balls every time he pitched every 4 or 3 days. And I think they've got it backwards in baseball. Paul Skeens is going to start in the All-Star game, or at least he damn sure should. And the major leagues need to emphasize the young phenom that they have in Pittsburgh right now. He has thrown 2 straight games of 6 or more innings without allowing a hit in the last 2 attempts he's pitched. I don't understand it. I don't understand the pitch count issue. I think you're seeing more pitchers get hurt with the less they throw, as opposed to letting them go out there and throw 120 to 140 pitches. And I'll argue anybody with that. I'll even argue with Big Red, who probably agrees with me on that topic. I think these pitchers are they're just being protected too often.
Well, he also, I think the next 3 batters were like the 7, 8, and 9 hitters. That doesn't mean they can't hit in the majors, but
you got to know hit the you got to know hit the Brewers here. I mean, the division leaders, and this guy is a rookie, and he's pitching like he's been in the league for 5 years, and he is the story of the National League, or maybe the entire major leagues right now. I'll tell you another guy who I'm watching hard right now is former Gator third baseman Jonathan India, who is playing second base with the Cincinnati Reds right now. And the Yankees need a leadoff hitter, and they're buying. And on the 4th of July, Jonathan India against the Yankees was 3 out of 5. He had a home run in that game. His on-base percentage is .375. He ranks 16th in the league in on-base percentage for the Cincinnati Reds. And Jonathan India, we talk a lot about Wyatt Langford. Okay, let's talk also about Jonathan India, former Gator, who is really doing well at Cincinnati. He's batting .280. And as a leadoff hitter, the Yankees could use him. And I think the Reds will be selling, as usual, come the trade deadline. And I hope the Yanks get him, because I think he's done a great job at Cincinnati. And, I thought I'd mention him on the show today, too, because in 86 games, he's a .280 hitter, and he's got 83 hits and 7 homers. So let's keep our eye on Jonathan India. But, yes, Paul Skeens is your story right now in the majors. There's no doubt.
Text on the Titan Mar text line. I want you to answer this first, JC, then I'm going to give my thoughts.
Okay.
Why didn't Emory Jones excel at his 3 college teams?
Well, why didn't he excel? Well, I wouldn't say he had a great supporting cast around him, but I think he's an average college quarterback. I don't think there's anything great about him.
Here's Yeah. So, and this is not a knock against Emory, because not everybody is going to be a solid, consistent player.
Right.
He was not consistent. Yeah. And that is the most important thing in playing quarterback, is consistency. He was not accurate. Okay. Not a great decision maker. And could he throw it 100 yards and 100 miles an hour? Absolutely could. Could he take off running every now and then? Yes. But those aren't going to win you games, people. And you find me somebody that is doing those things and winning you a bunch of games. It just doesn't happen. I don't know if Emory's playing in Canada, if he got to look anywhere.
Well,
or not.
Who was knocking down his door when he transferred from Florida? Not a whole lot of.
Well, it was between Florida and Ohio State for him.
Ohio State
to come out of no. This is what Mullen got him.
Okay.
Because he was supposed to go to Ohio State. He's from the state of Georgia, and they got him to flip to come here. But again, nothing against him.
I mean,
he's one of those that enamored people at combines, at the 24/7 sports combines and things of that nature. So anyway, Chris says Emory was not accurate. No, you better be able to throw the football or you got no chance.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. Mark says Ryan was a freak. The emphasis nowadays is velocity. This put more strain on the arms. Oh, he's talking about Nolan Ryan. Yeah. Okay. All right. So JC, the Renaissance Club, as I call it, but they pronounce it over there the Renaissance. So remember I told you that I went over there with the Mannings in 2007 for a week. And all we did was play golf. We had to do an event at this place, and I've been friends with their family for a long time. They invited me, which I don't know why, but they did. Zurich Insurance was the people that took care of us. And so I found the hat that it's in Luke's room. I don't know if you can see it, but Peyton and Eli both wrote a little note to Luke here when he was probably 9 years old. And so over there in the summertime, and I don't know, maybe the sun comes up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and it doesn't set till like 11:30 at night.
Oh Lord!
So we played at least 36 holes a day.
Oh my God!
And then the Mannings had a bunch of stuff that they would have to do. We'd go to some bars and eat and drink. The food was horrible there, by the way. All I did was drink beer and eat Mars bars. I don't know if Mars bars were made in Scotland, but that's the only thing that I could eat over there.
That's not your diet.
But one day, Billy McGriff, who is a former Gator, he was on this trip. He kind of organized it, did some stuff for Zurich Insurance. He and I walked 72 holes, JC. 72 holes in one day.
Insanity.
What's crazy is one hole, it would be 42 degrees, wind howling, and you'd have like a sweater and all this stuff on. The next hole, it'd be 78 degrees. You'd be hot as hell. And then 2 holes later, it'd be raining sideways. I was just constantly putting clothes on. But
looking forward to
you talking about people that can drink beer?
Oh,
this Manning family drinks more beer than they can just, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And they know everything. They know everything about football. So we sat down at this one bar, and just out of the blue, Peyton goes, "Oh yeah, in 1990, your wide receiver was bam, bam, bam. Your running back was this guy. Your middle linebacker was that guy." I'm going,
how does he know that?
How do you even know this? But anyway, it was fun. It was fun, and like I said, that golf course now has this big castle hotel on it. All it had was like a little trailer when we were there.
Do you remember the course? The name of the course that you did that on?
It's the Renaissance Club. It's where they play in the Scottish Open.
Right. But I meant to ask, was that the only course you got to play on?
No. So we would get in like a little minivan like you need to buy from some car dealer.
Right, I will.
And the roads are so bad over there.
Yeah.
Small. And this dude would drive us and take us. We played Muirfield. We played all these courses.
Okay. You played the tour. Yeah.
Yeah, we did it all.
I'm doing King's Barnes, which is a course in Scotland here in a month, and they say they require you to take a shot of whiskey before you tee off. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
but it's a drinking country. It's a drinking country, and the food it's secondary, right?
Brian says he disagrees. Scotland food is more diverse than pub food. Best salmon. I don't eat fish, but let me tell you something. Nobody on this trip ate very good because they did not like the food.
I'm going to eat salmon.
I'll just leave it at that.
I'm going to eat salmon.
And we went to they had like these parties, or I don't know what, these events at these castles, JC. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
These castles.
No, it's a great place. Home of golf, bro. I got to figure out how to hit a ball low. I'm going to bring a 4-iron and a 3-iron, I guess. I don't know. I mean, don't you have to hit it low over there, QB? Isn't it tight lies and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, you can hit it right down the middle of the fairway. Yeah. And if you get a bad bounce, you're in the
stuff,
the crap, whatever they call it. I can't even.
Fescue.
Yeah. All right, this is from Georgia Gator on the Titan MR text line. Mertz wasn't the reason we had a losing record last year. He's the best QB we've had since Trask. Would have had stats like Trask if he had the same wide receiver. I agree 100% with that.
Well, everybody is talking about Lagway. He's on the talk show in the afternoon that I sometimes listen to on my drive home with Big Red and Dooley. And it just seems like people's interest is more. I don't know why that is. I'm more
because it's the most important position in all of sports, and he's highly recruited. I get it, but that position is not the reason we lost all those games the last few years.
It's not, and
I don't understand how people don't understand that.
Well, but wouldn't you think people would be more interested in seeing how the guy who played well for you last year would do in year 2 and possibly lead you to a very good record and a bowl game or some sort of 8-win season?
Or how about the other 11 guys that play on the other side of the ball that are supposed to slow down? That's all I care about.
Yeah, but bad talk radio. Nobody wants. Okay, you can say one thing about the defense. They need to get better. Okay, great. But everybody's talking about the offense. You know how it is, QB. People like offense. That's what they want to talk
I get it, but we don't need to get better. We just need to be average. CertaPro Painters of Gainesville is the area's leader in painting excellence and proud partner of the Florida Gators, offering professional painting services for homes and businesses, plus cabinet refinishing, carpentry repairs. Visit CertaPro.com for a free estimate. We got JC on the Titan Tomorrow hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. Then we'll have the throwing Mayo and the head ball coach of the Western Carolina Catamounts.
Okay. Don't know about the sushi bar. Mark wants to know if there are sushi bars over there, QB. I would kind of doubt that, but I'll find out more when I go in a month. That's all I can tell
you. Greg says, speaking of golf, which I don't follow, did you see the guy's ball that hit the other golfer's ball? I don't know what that means. That happens all the time. You just put it back where it was.
How are we doing in the Scottish Open, QB?
Okay. I'm glad you brought that up.
I thought I'd lead you into that. Okay.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I don't want you to figure. I don't want you to forget that.
Some young kid that I chose, Ludwig Odberg,
is leading.
Who's on my roster, is 12 under par, leading the golf tournament.
Yeah.
I also have Tommy Fleetwood, Bobby McIntyre, and Minwoo Lee. All playing pretty good golf.
All doing well. I got Rory. Yeah, Rory.
You got Rory, Vic Hovland, Tom Hoagie, and for some reason you took Francesco Molinari. I don't know what he shot. Oh, he's 1 under. He's in 24th.
All right. But my guy Rory, I thought was 5 under at some point. I don't know where he is. I'm not watching it.
I don't know if he's teed off yet today.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm looking at it right now.
He won it last year.
So good stuff over there. Good stuff. All right. Let's see. We got a text here. Kevin says on the Titan More text on the only fans that want to see Lagway are Georgia fans. Embrace the hate, gentlemen. Good show.
I don't really think at night about how much DJ Lagway is going to play. I think of him as the future. And I think of
again, why anybody cares about the future or what happens next year just blows my mind.
Well, no, that's my mind. It's not important right now. What's important is August 31st, QB. That's all that matters.
It's all that matters. All that matters.
It's all that matters. All right. That's all that matters.
I lost my. Oh, this is from Ponte Vedra Beach Bull Gator on the Titan text line.
Ponte Vedra Beach Bull Gator.
JC heard, he says, JC, I heard yesterday that the top 11 recruits for Alabama, 5 of them are from the state of Alabama, 6 are from the state of California.
Wow. No, he's definitely got that Western influence going, and he's doing his 25 class right now is by, I think, On3 ranked number 2 in the country. Alabama will have the players that they need to compete for championships. Just because Nick Saban isn't coaching there does not mean that they won't be getting the best of the best and who they want. And, speaking of Saban, I read a piece by Bruce Feldman in The Athletic. When he retired, it affected the jobs of over 400 coaches in the coaching profession, stemming from as low as high school to the NFL. And one of the guys, of course, we know, Jed Fish, brought 21 players from Arizona to Washington. 21 players, 21 coaches and staff members from Arizona to Washington. And so, of course, you have to then fill the Arizona spots with new guys. Kane Womack, who was the head coach at South Alabama, was grilling burgers. He's now the defensive coordinator at Alabama. So you had to fill in spots at USA. Over 400 coaches were affected when Nick walked in on that day and said to the team that he was no longer going to be the head coach. But under Saban, well, we don't need to repeat his resume. I'm just saying, though, that Kalen DeBoer will do just fine recruiting. I love Ponte Vedra Beach Bull Gator. I hope he comes down here and raises hell for the Gators, and I'm sure he will. I hope I get to meet him. I love meeting the guys that watch this show. I can't wait to go to that tailgate on Lake Alice, and I just am excited about August 31st. That's pretty much what it comes down to.
Zach says on YouTube, brought to you by Quality Plumbing. Channing Crowder mentioned in today's game, you need to score 30+ points to win in today's game. Agree.
Yeah,
So
and they
you look
did.
at the Gators last year, they averaged 28.4 points per game.
No,
And that's without your quarterback for the last game or 2 games. I can't remember.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
So,
they had
again,
they had
offense is not the problem. I'm an offensive guy, and I am not worried one bit about the offense. If they stink it up on here, we can talk about it.
QB, I think folks overemphasize some of the things that they remember, and that was, of course, the ending of the Arkansas game, the performance of the Utah game in the red zone. Things like that frustrate folks about offense, right? They forget all the greatness that was going on in between some of those 2 games and so forth. The drive against South Carolina was a great possession, the best one of the season for the Gators in the clutch. And they won the game because of it. 4th and 16. There you go. First down, sideline pattern, right? So I just, Florida is going to have to get back to that nastiness that they used to have when they played real defense. And that's just the bottom line. I mean, I don't need to go into it any deeper than that. You and I both know what the problem is. So
yeah, I mean, I'm not asking us to shut people out. No, I'm just talking about keep them under 30 points, and we have.
You talk about how much you love the corners. I think the corners could be the real highlight of this defense. But the front seven's gonna have to pressure this other team's offensive sets. They've got to stick pressure. They've got to get through those gaps, and they've got to give the cornerbacks a chance back there. Quarterbacks have to know how to run tackle. I mean, there's just things like this that we didn't see last year that we got to see this year. We got to see it. Period. As simple as that.
This Day in Sports brought to you by Campus USA Credit Union. Put some star power to work in your financial life at Campus USA Credit Union. 1996, Michael Jordan signs an NBA contract with the Bulls. 1-year deal. How much you think in 1996, a 1-year deal for Jordan?
16 million.
It was 30 million. What do you think he would get in a 1-year deal now? About 60 million?
Yeah. I mean, 38-year-old LeBron James is getting over 50 million on a 2-year deal, so 110 million in 2 years.
How's this kid playing in the summer league? Anybody know?
I don't know, don't care. But the Celtics have 2 guys on their roster. And by the way, the Celtics are for sale, QB, if you're interested. But the Celtics, they have 2 guys on the roster making now contracted for over $300 million to shoot a basketball. God bless.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
Too bad you weren't 6'7", 6'8", and athletic, JC. You're 5'5" and non-athletic.
I tell you what, I always told people that if I had the size of the physical stature, I would have been a great baseball pitcher. That's what I would have been. I would have, because I threw the ball. I threw so much. And when I played tennis, I have no issues with my arm, nothing. But I would have been a baseball pitcher if I was 6'5", 226. I would have pitched. Yeah. I had great control, QB. I could throw a curveball that had kids in Bronco League and Pony League at the Northwest Boys Club screwing themselves into the batter's box. They didn't know it was coming. One guy thought the ball was going to hit him in the head.
JC, you're talking like what is this, like 8- and 9-year-old baseball?
Pony League, teenager. And he goes like this, and he dives out of the batter's box, and the ball just went whoop. Strike 3.
Oh, yes. Mark is my statistician for the NBA Summer League. He says Bronny is keeping his average 4 points a game.
Really moving the needle there.
And he says he had 3 points in 29 minutes the other night versus the Heat. Yeah, he stinks, man.
Whatever.
It's not his fault. It's not his fault. He's not that good. I mean,
no, so he is who he is.
Yeah.
I mean, his name was Bronny Carpenter. Nobody would even know who he is.
If he was Bronny Cornell, he'd be trying to learn how to play golf. All right, JC. We got to go. We got to get to Coach Bell.
Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Kerwin. I'll see you Monday. From Chicago.
That's JC. That's JC joining us on the Titan Tomorrow hotline, courtesy of Comfort Temp. When we come back, we'll be joined by the head ball coach of the Western Carolina Catamounts. You're watching and listening to PodUp with Matthews in the Morning.
We want to take this moment to thank all our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills.
Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, Titan MRI, Meldon Law, Peachland Dental, QC Kinetics, Campus USA Credit Union, Dave & Buster's. Our Gridiron sponsors: Sutter Pro Painters, Comfort Temp, UF Bookstores, Quality Plumbing, Silverback Concrete, Ruse Ogre State Farm, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, F45. Our touchdown sponsors are Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteaks, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods, MG&A Wealth, Nest and Wild.
Again, thank you for all the great businesses that support the show. Please remember, if you like what we are doing here, thank our sponsors and support the businesses that support us.
Hi there, this is Coach Steve Spurrier, and I want to let you know that by popular demand, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill's delicious brunch is now served in a premium buffet. You have spoken, we have listened, and we're now serving Gainesville's only elevated buffet, complete with an omelet station, ginger sage chicken sausage, shredded short rib, and of course our chicken and waffles. Plus, you can enjoy bottomless mimosas and Bloody Marys. So join us every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 for the best brunch in town.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right. With the right insurance options for you and your family, visitogreinsurance.com. Give them a call at 352-240-1779. We're going to go back to the Titan Number Highline courtesy of Comfort Temp, joined by former Gator quarterback, the head ball coach of the Western Carolina Catamounts, Coach Kerwin Bell. What's up, my man? How you doing?
Man, just living life, Shane, up here in these mountains. Figuring it out.
You've been hiking any? What you been doing? You and Kazette do some hiking?
No, I took a little vacation last few days, and now back, and we got our team here ready to go, man. We got a good-looking squad out there, so I feel good about going into this season.
All right, so let's talk about your squad. You barely missed the playoffs last year. I'm not sure how all that works in the FCS level. You were a top 20 team last year. You play in what they call the SEC of FCS football. Looking at your schedule, obviously you got to go to NC State, get a good paycheck there. They're a good squad. How you feel about your squad?
Well, yeah, like you say, NC State, man, I think they got a chance to win the ACC. It's going to be a big-time game for us to go just compete that first. I think it's on a Thursday night, the open college football that Thursday night before Saturday. So that'd be a big one. Then we got to go to the big one. Probably our biggest is going to Montana, which is, yeah, they were the national championship game last year against Furman, or played the game before against Furman, beat Furman, and so we know those guys, and so it's going to be interesting to see how we match up. You know, that's sort of the SEC of FCS is out there out west. Montana, Montana State, South Dakota State, all those guys are really good football programs. So let's see how we match up, and then we'll get home and we'll start our conference play then after week 4. So I like our team, Shane. I think we've grown up. We played with a lot of freshmen around here the last couple of years, just as we were developing the roster. We went young, instead of going to the portal. We felt like our niche was getting young guys out of high school. A lot of Florida guys, over 50-something guys on our roster now from the state of Florida. So we feel like now they're starting to develop them, and their bodies are getting bigger, and they look like good football players now. So we feel very good. Like you say, we were 7-3 heading that last game, and lost our starting quarterback, lost 2 offensive linemen, which put us at 8. Shane, we lost 8 out of our top 11 offensive linemen going into that last game. So for the season, so we, if we can stay healthy, I feel really good about about our prospects. We lost 3 really good players to Cade over at Pittsburgh. My son left and went to Pittsburgh, and he took 3 guys who I think they'll all play. It sounds like there at Pitt, they were very talented kids, a tailback and 2 receivers. So, but we've got a lot of really good players, man, at those positions. So we feel good, and we got a quarterback back, Shane. You know how important that is. Cole Gonzalez, who's Billy's boy, man, had a great year for us as a sophomore. He was Player of the Year in this conference. I think he had 28 or 30 touchdowns and 8 interceptions and right over 3,000 yards. So really good year from Cole. Won a couple of big games for us down the stretch. And so we expect a lot from him going into his junior year.
Yeah, you mentioned not only did you lose Cade as a coach, I believe you lost your offensive line coach and maybe a receiver coach that went with him. I mean, I know you hate losing Cade, but it's cool to see him get an opportunity. I tell people when they ask me about Cade, I say he's just a football junkie.
He is, yeah.
He's a football junkie. He has a great relationship. He loves the recruiting part of it. But it was Darvo, and didn't you lose a wide receiver, or was it a running back coach as well to Pitt?
Yeah, I was our receiver coach. Yep. So.
Okay, and you've replaced all those. Are you going to go back to maybe calling some ball plays yourself this year?
I thought about it, Shane, because I'd never turned it over to anybody else other than when Cade come on and just started sort of thinking the same way I was thinking at Valdosta State there, and he was a GA, and I started letting him help out. And then when we got here, I sort of turned it more over to him. He went in a little different direction, so it has helped us because we're different every year. And I thought about going back and doing the things that that we've done here and been good at. But I had a guy sort of also had been training because I knew Cade he got a lot of calls the year before, and I wanted somebody that I felt like could get it done, and I thought he could do it. And man, I've been so pleased with him this whole spring. Rylan Wells. Rylan played ball. He was a quarterback for me at JU behind Cade, and played quarterback there. Rylan is the grandson of Coach Dickey, the Florida coach, and it's his daughter, Rylan. Rogan actually is his brother who won us the national championship. Rogan was our quarterback for us, a really good football player. Back when I was at Valdosta State, won the national championship for us. And Rylan's the older brother. Rylan played for me at JU and then went on and got into coaching, and he's been with us for about 2 or 3 years now. Him and Cade work really well together, and so we're going to stay with what we're doing, and I'm putting it back in his hands. I'm not going to be overseeing it, but man, I think he's doing a really good job right now.
Yeah, a lot of people may not be aware either. You hired Jerry Odom, former linebacker at Florida, who worked with you at JU and then became the head coach at Tusculum, is now your defensive coordinator. And I know, speaking with you a lot during the season last year, if y'all could have played just a little bit better defense, you feel like you could have had a better season. What has Coach Odom brought to the program since he's been there?
Well, we was 3 years in, Shane, and I felt like we finished last year. We were in top 10 offensively, all 3 of those years. I think that's how Cade got that job. He's we were number 1 in the country last year with a bunch of sophomores and freshmen really last year on that team offensively. And also, Shane, you're a big media guy. I want you to check this out. Tell me if this was the 3rd place in college football that we have led the nation in offense. We did it at JU in 2010. In 2018, we did it at Valdosta State, which is Division II, at a different level. But, so we show we can build it wherever we've been. And then we led the nation last year here, and with a sophomore quarterback and a bunch of young guys around him. And so, yeah, Cade got the job. But we knew, we got a good offense. We got a lot of good talented players coming back. Had led the nation, and now we need to get our defense to where it was at. And I'd made some hires, and I knew Jerry was there, but he was a head coach. But this last off season, I started thinking I needed to go in a different direction. And Jerry wanted to give up the head coaching reins there at Tusculum and come be a defense coordinator again for me. We'd been together and had a lot of success at JU, and so, man, I had a chance to hire him, and you talking about a junkie. Now, I've replaced Cade, one junkie with the other.
Yeah.
He just, he's all about ball. Really great recruiter. Is helping us in that area. But, man, I think he's going to bring our defense around the 60th last year, 60-something in the nation. And if we can get them up to the top 25, and we've got the talent, Shane. We've got guys. We're going to be able to play 2 deep almost. Probably 20-something players will be able to play and not drop off. We've got a lot of talented kids, and with him bringing what he brings to the table, with the experience he brings, we feel like we're going to be we're a lot more balanced as a program, going into this season than probably been since I've been here.
Yeah, no doubt. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I used to mention this last year throughout the course of the season, or maybe it was at the end of the year. There were only 3 schools in all of college football at every level that average over 300 yards passing and over 200 yards rushing. It was Oregon, LSU, and Western Carolina. Isn't that correct?
Well, I didn't know that stat, but yeah, I mean, we were right there. We were at 500 something yards a game.
I think I got it from your son, so he's all about stats
okay.
too. So.
Well, you know, we've always about our state. I think that was the best play year we've ever had offensively. I mean, that was when Rogan Wells counted for 50 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. I mean, you have a quarterback that does that and also can run the football. One of the fastest guys on the field. He's 6'3", 210. You know, it makes for an easy way to call the game. Shane, you could have called all those plays, but yeah, that year we were 260 something running, 260 something passing. So it was one of the most balanced games or seasons we've ever had to be able to do those things. So yeah, if you're balanced like that, and we always strive every year. We're going in. We're trying to average 300 passing, 200 something running. If we can do that, then we'll be successful. You know, with the football.
Yeah. Silverback concrete builds firm foundations for generations. You stand on it. We stand by it. We got Coach Kerwin Bell from Western Carolina on the Titan More hotline. Andy's question on Facebook Live brought to you by Meldon Law. Kerwin, is there a reason your roster doesn't have more Power 5 transfer portal players looking for playing time at an elite, smaller college like WCU?
Well, I think different people have sort of, you know, with this portal and everything, they've sort of found their niche. And our niche was we you know, we felt like going out. What happened was a lot of guys, you know, because of the portal, you had so many guys out there that were left without scholarships. I'm talking about guys that had FBS offers, like as juniors and going into their senior year, and they got pulled or, you know, they got dropped because think about it. If all these universities are going with 10 portal guys instead of 20 high school guys, they go 10 portal and then just 10 high school guys. There's a lot of high school guys out there without scholarships. And so I always feel like whenever you go to a program, you got to find your niche. You got to find the areas that you're strong at, and you got to take advantage of those areas and build on that. And so that was our way to get into the game and I think be very competitive. We were number one in the SoCon in recruiting the last couple of years. You know, we were top 10, top 5 in nationally recruiting high school kids. So we went out and got some very talented kids because they were left out there. And we want to develop kids. I've always been that kind of guy that brings guys in. I know what kind of guys I want. So sometimes they're misfit toys, you know, they might not be quite the tallest or whatever, but they're gonna fit our system, and we're going to develop those guys. And we might get a 160-pound receiver, but by the time he's, you know, a sophomore, he's going to be 185 because we're going to really develop him and make sure he gets in the weight room, make sure he's, you know, eating properly. And so that's the way we do it. And that's the way we've been successful. And so that's sort of been our avenue. Now we'll fill in with some portal guys, you know, in certain areas that we need. But, man, our niche is to go out and get those high school guys, Florida guys. The coaches down there have been great to me. I've got a lot of great contacts down there, and they've helped us tremendously. And we sort of own South Florida here in FCS, and that's what we want to continue to do.
Cliff on YouTube, on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mel Law, wants to know: did Galen Hall have influence on you learning how to call plays?
I think probably Galen was more than anything. His was more just the unpredictability. He was very unpredictable, you know, in certain areas, certain situations. But no, you know, Steve was, you know I didn't play for Steve. I didn't really do much with him other than 1 year, but that 1 year I learned a lot. And a lot of my philosophies are from Steve Spurrier, and Shane, you know that. We believe in a lot of things that he brought to the table, and I still, a lot of the concepts and just our spacing, our timing, our rhythm of the offense. We want perfection, man. That's what we try to strive for, and that's the only man I've ever seen do it, and that's Coach Spurrier. Mm-hmm. And so that's sort of our landmark on offense is, you know, we do a lot of different things. We've changed a lot of different things that we've done, but man, we stay with one thing that we stay with, and that is we're going to be precise in everything we do. If you're a receiver for us, it's funny, them 2 receivers that went to Pittsburgh, you know, Coach Narduzzi there told Katie, man, so I've never seen guys that run like your guys do in practice, you know, and that's the way we practice. We practice 100 miles an hour, and if you don't run every snap, then you're not going to play in this system. So we want to be precise in everything we do. We want to be our timing immaculate, you know, and our I think if all those things happen with the spacing and all that, it just makes the quarterback job that much easier. And, everywhere we've been, our quarterback's been a conference player of the year. And, Cole was it last year as a sophomore. So you're going to put up big numbers in the system. You've got to find the right guy, though. And I've been blessed, man. I've been able to find the right guy for the most part. And, because I don't go by size. Shane, we talk about this all the time. I don't go by a guy I can throw it through the wall. I want a guy who's all pro point guard. That's what I'm looking for, a Hall of Fame point guard who can distribute the ball, who can be efficient. And if he can run like Rogan Wells could, man, I've got a superstar. But first of all, we're going to be consistent offensively because we're going to have a guy who can be efficient at the quarterback position, and we're going to get receivers who get open and who are going to run the routes the way we ask them to do it. And if you do those things, then you're pretty good throwing the football.
Well, you're preaching the same stuff I've been preaching for the last 4 years. I'm glad it's coming out of somebody else's mouth. But you and I have the same beliefs. Mark on YouTube, is App State in the same division you were in? No, App State has moved up. They play in either Conference USA or something like that. Tony wants to know, can Kerwin still grow a mustache?
It's got a little gray in it now, Shane, if I did, probably. Okay. But, I don't have one. But, yeah, I'm sure if I did, I'd probably have a little gray in it.
All right, so before we let you go, Kerwin, there's been some talk that there's a possibility that the University of Florida might honor the 84, 85 teams. I know you love the University of Florida, but there's a lot of guys that were on those two teams, and those were outstanding teams with a lot of talent that have some resentment towards the university. Just your thoughts. I mean, don't you think it's time that something is done for the 84 and 85 teams?
Well, I think, what we did was on the football field, we accomplished a lot. I know there was a lot of things happen off the field, but, with things that are going on now with college football, man, Jesus, it's crazy. But, I think it's time for, to us to be recognized. I mean, I think we had some really good football players. I think we were one of the most dominant football teams in SEC. When you look at that run we had, after that LSU game in 84, I was a true little redshirt freshman in my second game, and we tied them. After that, I think we won, I don't know how many, but I know we were 9 games that year we won. And then we won 9 again, our sophomore year, and did it in a very dominant fashion. I mean, we beat, Auburn like 20-something to nothing, or Georgia 27 to nothing. It was just dominant performances on both sides of the ball. So, yeah, I'd like to see, those guys get recognized, all of us. And, what I'm proud about too, Shane, is I think we went through a tough time there, and it was some of our faults, or the coaches, whatever. But I think one thing we did do is after those 2 9-1-1 seasons, people said, yeah, I was proud of that. But I was also proud of those 6 and 5 years we had right before you got there, Shane, is we sort of kept it together, It was tough, man, to go through that probation and not have good football players across the board, and especially in SEC, and compete. But we kept it going. And, we had winning season. And then when Coach Spurrier got there, he took off with it. And so I'm proud of that, what we were able to accomplish. We didn't just fold when all that happened. We stayed together. And I think we had a lot of really good football players, like you said, in 84 and 85. And I think it'd be good to honor those guys.
Yeah, I would hope that at least down there where they have the SEC championships listed by year, go back and put, the first in the SEC in 84, 85, and 90. Just do it. I mean, what does it matter? What does it matter now? So, yeah. All right, Kerwin, last thing before we let you go, there's a ton of people texting and Facebook messaging about you coaching at a higher level. And I've you and I are really close friends, and I've told people, you've been, ever since you got into coaching, you've been your own boss. You started the program at Trinity Catholic. You go to JU, you're the head man. You go to Valdosta, you're the head man, win a national title. And then you make a move to be an OC where you're not in charge. It's hard. I try to tell people that, especially when you've played quarterback your whole life, you are in charge. Is that something at your age that you're still hoping you may get a chance? Or are you very happy being at Western Carolina at that level, being the head coach and try to build that program into a winner?
Well, Shane, I think every man's got to look at his strengths and weaknesses, what makes him great, what makes him tick, what makes him get up every morning. And to me, being a head coach, I tell my players, I tell their parents, I'm a servant. That fits me a little bit. I just like to be servant to young men, and I feel like that's what a job of a head coach is. Really, that's all it is. You're trying to make sure you put them in the best position to be successful, not only as players, but as on academically as a student. Out in the community, what can we do to help these kids to be, to grow as young men, and put them in a position to be successful. And I think the quality that we show on the football field helps these young men. We had 5 guys go play, get a chance in the NFL this year, through free agency and stuff like that. So we're putting together quality guys, and we're building these guys, and we're developing them. I tell them all the time when they get here as freshmen, man, if you only gain, I hate to see a guy, Shane, you've seen them. They freshmen, they were all Americans. And then by the time they're seniors, they hadn't hardly got any better. They hadn't got any bigger. They hadn't got any faster. But I feel like I've done a disservice to young men if I hadn't served them better than that, made sure that they are putting an off-season program where they gaining 8 pounds off-season. And now after 4 years, they've got 30-something pounds on them. Now, if they have that possibility to go play at the next level, at least we gave them that opportunity. And so just things like that to build a program, I feel like that's my strengths. And I love being in charge. I love, putting together a program and putting a team out there that I feel like can be very competitive and winning championships, and then doing it on and off the field. So that's been good for me. I think people's probably what happened with me in my career, just I played so long, Shane, trying to play. I always tell people, man, I probably made the dumbest decision when I was out of football my second year out of college, and Coach Spurrier hired me. You was there, Shane, as a quarterback, and Coach hired me as a graduate assistant. And, man, I probably should have just stayed in coaching. I was under a great coach, and I should have put my effort into it and just stayed and just been a coach from that point on. But I love the game of football. I love to play. And I went back 10 more years and played and tried to play this game. And I think after that point, then now, shoot, there's no other coaches that I've been a part of, And so I did have to go out on my own. And so when you're in that position, people don't understand it's all about relationships. I didn't have really, I'd played ball. And so I went and sort of made it my own way, and being a head coach and built programs and won championships and moved to the next level. And that sort of was my niche. And so I love it though. I love being a head coach. I love putting together a program. I love recruiting the kind of quality guys that we want to be in our program to go win championships with. And so all those things is landing me here, man. To me, I feel like this is just as important a job as University of Florida job. I mean, that's just the way I take it. I put every ounce of energy into it, and just, I want to win a championship again. And we did it at Valdosta State. I think we can do it here. And the great thing about FCS football, man, I tell people all the time, man, you're talking about App State. They go up. Yeah, they go up to FBS, Shane, but what do they got to play for, man? Go play in the lawnmower bowl, man, here at the FCS level, you get to get into a competition, you get to get into playoffs, and you get a chance to go make a run at the national championship. And so that's what's going to last the rest of your life. When you have a chance, I tell our kids all the time, do you realize you've been placed here to go win a national championship, go win a conference championship? It's never been done at this school. And so there's a lot for us to play for here. And I love those moments, because that's what competition is about. That's what being a competitor is about, is putting yourself in position to go win a championship. And I think we go have that opportunity here in the next couple of years with Cole as our quarterback, and it's going to be a fun ride.
Yeah. Kerwin, I feel like I'm listening to Coach Spurrier talk. If all our listeners out there to setting goals, playing for championships, you can take championships to your grave. You can't take money to the grave, all that kind of stuff. Good stuff,
Yep.
my friend. We'll be watching the Catamounts for sure. And again, you kick off the season. Is that on ESPN, the Thursday night game against NC State?
I don't know if it is or not. I know it's on the ACC network.
I bet it's on the ACC network, I bet.
It is. I'm pretty sure it's on there. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff. So
everybody wants to know, if you were offered the head coaching job for the Gators, would you take it?
Oh my God, yeah. If I got offered that, that, Shane.
I know.
Listen, I love Florida. It's not saying, so one's no more important. But man, you know, I think Coach is doing a really good job there. I watched him. You know, like you say, he's putting together. Man, I think they've done a good job recruiting. I think you got to win you got to win the state of Florida, though, man. I know if I was a head coach there, man, we'd dominate Florida in recruiting. I think you got to do that if you're going to be a consistent program year in and year out. You better dominate the state of Florida. I think all of the great coaches that went through there were able to do that. You know, Steve did that, and Urban did that. So you got to dominate. You got to be the team in the state of Florida kids want to go to, and you know, we've been able to do that up here is get those kind of quality kids. But man, yeah, it would be fun to take your old team like that and try to win a championship with. I think that'd be something to hang your hat on. But you know, I also feel like that you know, being up here has been great for me, man. It's been great to do something, Shane. You know, Steve always used to say that, Shane. You know that. Steve always said, go somewhere where they ain't never done anything, you know.
Yep.
And it's sort of true, man. This has been just a big challenge for me. You know, to take a team that was 3-40 something before I got here. They were 1-10 the year before I got here. They hadn't been in the playoffs since 1983. Man, it's been a big challenge. Never won a SoCon championship here. Had great rivalries with App State back when App State was here, but never was able to get over the top. And so this has been a great challenge, and I just love challenges. You know, Shane, you know me. Shoot, I always love those challenges, and so it's been a big reward for me. And we busted our butt here in the last 3 years, and kept getting better and better. And I think now we've got a chance to make a really big run. I hope we can stay healthy. If we can, I think we got a team to really make a great run these next couple of years.
Yeah. Kerwin, great stuff as always. Tell Cosette and the kids I said hello, and good luck this year, my man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
That's Coach Kerwin Bell joining us, Hall of Famer here at the University of Florida. One of the best. I'm telling you, he knows ball. Hope you enjoyed today's program. Have a great day or a great weekend. We'll see you on Monday, folks. Take care.